Deep in the heart of upstate New York lies a facility that may well be the blueprint for how unmanned aircraft systems, UAS, will be operated, managed, and scaled in the coming decade. The New York UAS Test Site, NYUASTS, located at Griffiss International Airport, KRME, in Rome, Oneida County, offers not only hangars and flight corridors for drones, but also a full test campus, indoor testing facility, regulatory milestone pathway, and commercial service potential. In this article, we'll present a reader-friendly, in-depth introduction to the NYUASTS, walk you through its infrastructure, regulatory breakthroughs, ecosystem context, operational use cases, and, importantly, how it compares with alternative candidate subregions in New York State for a drone facility. If you are evaluating setting up a drone facility for R&D, fleet operations, training, or commercial services in New York, this is the type of detailed orientation you'll want. New York State, recognizing early the transformative potential of drone and autonomous flight systems, committed strategic resources to build an ecosystem for UAS and advanced air mobility, AAM. The NYUASTS was born from this vision, a site that moves beyond hobby drones into serious flight testing, fleet operations, regulatory integration, sensor/communications payloads, and commercial applications. Located at Griffiss International Airport, itself a former U.S. Air Force base turned business and technology park, the site brings together aviation infrastructure, industrial real estate, research capacity, and economic development ambition. The state and county have invested heavily. For example, a $13 million indoor facility, the Skydome, was announced in 2022 as the nation's largest indoor UAS testing center. NYUASTS is not merely a drone pad where a few quadcopters can be flown. It's designed as a full campus and test bed for higher-end operations. The facility is based at Griffiss International Airport, KRME, in Rome, Oneida County. Oneida County, the airport features an 11,820-foot runway, a tower, Class D airspace, and access to Class A, C, E, and G airspaces, meaning UAS operations can be conducted in mixed airspace and in terrain with variable complexity. One of the major assets is the 50-mile drone corridor linking Rome, Griffiss, to Syracuse, Hancock. This corridor spans a mix of urban, suburban, and rural terrain, and includes portions where, beyond visual line of sight, BVLOS operations have been authorized. In April 2023, the FAA granted a civil flight authority, sometimes called a Charlie waiver, to allow commercial operations of drones under 300 pounds within this corridor. Weather seasonality and RF interference often hinder outdoor drone testing. The Skydome addresses this, a large indoor facility, formerly a hangar, converted into a highly instrumented environment for UAS and advanced autonomy experimentation, including RF spectrum testing, autonomous swarm work, mesh networking, detect and avoid, and more. The NYUASTS boasts ground-based radars, network infrastructure, real-time data feeds, sensor integration labs, and the ability to support simultaneous UAS operations in a controlled but complex airspace environment. See NYDefenseAlliance.org+1. Because it is based at a towered airport and integrated with air traffic control, it offers real-world airspace integration rather than isolated test fields. Upstate New York offers 4 distinct seasons, including cold and snowy conditions. For drone developers seeking to test resilience, battery cold effects, sensor performance in snow/wind, this is a differentiator compared with more temperate zones. The NYUASTS is one of only 7 FAA-designated UAS test sites in the United States, FAA+1, that in itself signals a high level of regulatory alignment, research maturity, and infrastructure investment. Perhaps the most important milestone, in April 2023, the FAA granted the corridor a civil flight authority enabling commercial operations of drones under 300 pounds within the corridor, versus previous restrictions limiting operations to government or R&D flights. This opens the pathway from pure testing to real-world services, inspection, delivery, surveying, etc. under commercial terms. NYUASTS participates in UTM/Advanced Air Mobility Research. It has hosted NASA and FAA-UTM pilot programs, contributes to standards development e.g. remote ID, swarm communications and functions as a live testbed for airspace integration. Large utilities, power lines, telecom towers, infrastructure, bridges, tunnels, require drones for inspections. The NY facility supports modular fleets, sensor payloads, BVLOS flights in the corridor, making inspection and surveying at scale possible. Because the facility supports indoor and outdoor testing, pilot certification, Part 107 training, and likely recurrent training, it is suitable for organizations wanting to manage fleets, train pilots, and perform ongoing operations. Autonomous swarm behaviors, detect and avoid, mesh communications, advanced sensor integration, all possible via the Skydome and corridor combination. This sets the site apart from basic drone operations facilities. Given the civil flight authority over the corridor and the mixed terrain, rural to urban, companies can test delivery or logistics use cases under the weight threshold under commercial conditions. A major differentiator. The region around the NYUASTS, especially central New York and the Mohawk Valley, has positioned itself intentionally as an innovation hub for UAS/AAM. Investment flows from the state, for example via the Upstate Revitalization Initiative, amount to tens of millions of dollars. Industry includes aerospace firms, research labs, AFRL/RI, accelerators, Genius NY, and startup ecosystems. The presence of this ecosystem makes the site not just infrastructure-rich, but network-rich. Comparative brief: how NYUASTS stacks up against other New York subregions. If you are evaluating where to locate a drone facility in New York State, for example, Metro NYC Corridor, Hudson Valley, Upstate, the rural region, then comparing different subregions is essential. Given your intention to establish a drone facility, R&D, fleet management, training, commercial services, in New York, the insights from the NYUASTS case and the comparative brief inform several strategic implications. If you prioritize advanced testing, BVLOS capability, autonomy, sensor integration, and future readiness, the NYUASTS region is highly compelling. If you prioritize proximity to large clients, urban services, delivery networks, and metropolitan logistics, consider a site in Hudson Valley or Metro Fringe, but factor in higher cost and regulatory burden. Consider a dual-site model: main facility upstate, test, share hangar, training, plus satellite operations nearer commercial client base. At the upstate site, you can leverage existing hangars, indoor testing facility, Skydome, and the BVLOS corridor. You'll still need to build out your control room, data/communications, hangar/maintenance infrastructure, charging facilities. For a metro site, anticipate higher cost per square foot, more constraints on launching, landing, likely more noise, flight path restrictions, and community engagement required. The NYUASTS region has deep regulatory maturity, test site, BVLOS corridor, which gives you a head start. But regardless of region, you must build a regulatory readiness plan, Part 107/135 compliance if needed, remote ID, LANC/UTM integrations, local zoning/flight path approvals, noise/privacy mitigation. Upstate reduces some of the regulatory friction. Metro sites will require more negotiation. Operational model and service mix. In the upstate region, you may start with training, R&D, fleet operations, advanced testing, then expand commercial services as capabilities grow. In metro sites, you might start with commercial services, media, inspection, delivery earlier, but will likely have to outsource or partner for heavy R&D/test segments. Plan for scalability. Infrastructure, hangar, charging, data connectivity should be modular and future-proof to allow expansion into advanced operations, Swarm, BVLOS, multi-UAV, as regulations mature. Upstate, you may need to invest in training pilots/technicians/data analysts locally. Partnerships with local universities or workforce programs will help. Metro, large talent pool but higher labor cost. Ease of recruitment may offset cost for some roles. In either case, maintaining a training center makes sense. The NYUASTS region already supports training infrastructure. Upstate, strong aerospace clusters, access to utilities, infrastructure, R&D organizations may attract state/federal grants more easily, economic development incentives. Metro, proximity to corporate clients, media/logistics networks, but you may face more competition and higher cost. In planning, engage potential clients early, utilities, telecom, media, public safety, and identify partnerships, universities, research labs, local government to strengthen the facility's value proposition. Upstate, lower cost of land/real estate, but lower immediate commercial fees maybe. Ramp up may take time. Modeling should stress test slower revenue growth. Metro, higher revenue potential from urban services, but also higher costs at your fixed commitments and greater risk from regulatory community pushback. Consider the regulatory timeline risk. While NYUASTS region already has BVLOS commercial authority, national rulemaking, Part 108, etc., remains in flux. Allocate contingencies. The drone industry is not staying small. As autonomy, eVTOLs, urban air mobility, and drone delivery evolve, facilities like NYUASTS become critical proving grounds. With the 50-mile corridor and indoor-outdoor facilities, the site is positioned for multi-vehicle operations, swarms, and mesh communications. Beyond flying drones, the value increasingly lies in the data. Sensor payloads, analytics, infrastructure inspection insights, AI/ML processing of imagery. A facility that supports data integration capabilities as NYUASTS does gains competitive edge. With the April 2023 Civil Flight Authority milestone, commercial operations are more viable. Future rulemaking, Part 108, expanded BVLOS, airspace integration, will further lower barriers. A region with proven regulatory alignment, such as NYUASTS, has a strategic advantage. States like New York are using drone/AAM investment for economic revitalization, especially upstate. The presence of infrastructure and ecosystem may bring grant funding, tax incentives, partnership opportunities, an advantage for your facility plan. Given the comparison above, many operators may adopt hybrid models. A primary test operations campus in a lower cost, less congested region, like upstate New York, and satellite service operations near client hubs, Hudson Valley Metro. This dual-site strategy can optimize cost, regulatory access, and client proximity. If you are contemplating establishing a first-class drone facility in New York, one capable of R&D, fleet operations, training, advanced testing, and commercial services, the New York UAS Test Site, NYUASTS, offers one of the strongest starting points. Its proven infrastructure, regulatory breakthroughs, dedicated corridor, and ecosystem maturity really set the benchmark. At the same time, your ultimate site choice will depend on your business model. If you prioritize advanced testing, autonomy, fleet scale-up, and institutional partnerships, upstate Central NY is extremely strong. If you prioritize proximity to clients, urban services, and immediate commercial revenue, you may lean toward Hudson Valley or a metro-adjacent site, but accept the trade-offs of cost and complexity. Whatever path you choose, your plan should include a well-structured location decision, land, zoning, airspace access, modular, scalable infrastructure, hangars, control rooms, charging, data/communications. A regulatory roadmap, including Part 107/135, BVLOS authority, remote ID/UTM readiness, an ecosystem and partnership strategy, universities, utilities, logistics, public safety. A service operational model that scales from pilot operations to full commercial growth. Financial modeling with risk contingencies, regulatory delay, slower uptake, higher cost. A community airspace engagement plan, especially in denser regions. In the final analysis, if you build a facility that mirrors many of the attributes of the UASTS, plus clear alignment to your chosen client markets and growth trajectory, you'll be well positioned to seize the accelerating drone/AAM wave in the northeastern U.S.